we've come up with. We're not looking to outline a process or anything for a store, but we think you've got to align, obviously, your process, 1, 2, your structure, and 3, your marketing. Within that, we've got 7 points that through various studies we found looks like you have to execute or achieve these 7 points online. Quick response time, transparency, in other words, give the customer all the information. Options, because a lot of customers don't buy what they send the lead on. A vast majority of them, or a great percentage of them, switch. You still have to sell the product, because if they're switching, it means they're not exactly sold on the car. So you can't just expect this to be an anal customer that knows everything that they want and they just want to click the buttons. You still need to sell the feature, advantage, and benefit. It's still a live, emotional person. Phone calls, the appointments, the volume of calls, the scripts that you use, long-term follow-up, because they don't buy right away. Some of them do, some of them don't, so you need a decent long-term follow-up. And then a fast and friendly customer sales process when they show up, because a lot of stores are blowing it. They have this great online, you got a good e-commerce manager who's doing a good job getting to the store, and then the typical floor gets a hold of them and ruins the deal. So we've got that. Structures, we've seen 4 main structures. The single ISM model. I get the leads, I work the leads, maybe I pass the leads out to the sales guys. The ISM team, leads come into an ISM manager, they're round robin, but we're the internet team, we handle these deals, they come in and see us. You got the BDC, that the leads come into the BDC, they're not salespeople, they're paid, 10, 12, 15 bucks an hour, bonused on setting appointments. When the lead shows, they turn it over to a salesperson, and then we're reverse BDC, where all of the leads come into the salespeople, everyone on the showroom is considered internet person, and what they don't make happen within a certain time period, it then moves to a business development center to do long-term follow-up. Those are kind of the structures that we've seen. And then we found 12 disciplines or online markets: inventory publishers, third-party leads, your store site, your email marketing, your online auctions, videos, SEM, SEO, microsites, partnerships, viral and online communities like Craigslist, MySpace, things like that. The way I've got the questions lined out as we discuss things, it won't be like question, answer. It'll turn into a conversation. We will end up totally off track, and that's okay.
Definitely.
We'll start out with a little background history, and then we'll get in and just kind of question you on some of these things. Again, we don't need you to divulge things that, we don't need you to divulge specific details regarding to your internet strategy. Of course, that we expect you to kind of keep that close to you, but just general theory. Anything you can teach. The audience will be dealers, the average car dealer across the country, the guy that maybe questions whether the internet is still viable, but more importantly, the guy that knows the internet's viable, wants to get committed to it, but really doesn't have anywhere to go for an education. It's kind of saying, I want to learn about this stuff. It's called the Masters Series because it's us as your average dealers going around meeting with the masters, learning, and it's kind of us sitting proxy for those dealers to put this documentary together.
Excellent.
Does that kind of give a good rundown of?
Yeah, it gives pretty much everything there.
How it is and where we'll go.
Definitely.
If you want to start out, just your name, title, the company, a little bit about you and the Napleton Group.
Well, my name is Rafi Hamid. I'm a director of e-commerce for Napleton Automotive Group. It's automotive groups. We have 4 groups of dealerships by a family of 5 brothers. So I handle all the groups. I'm a director of the whole enterprise. And I started with Napleton about 6 years ago. And before that, I was with Bob Goldman Auto Group. They have about 30 stores, 45 franchises. Our company, Napleton Auto Group, is in Illinois, Indiana. We had Michigan, we just sold it, Missouri, and Florida. We have domestic cars, we have Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and we also have imports. So we have all variety of dealership. We have Mitsubishi, we have Lincoln Mercury, we have Hondas, we have Acuras. So anything you name it, we have it. We don't have Toyotas, but everything else.
Tell me units, give me an idea of what kind of units you do a month, and talk to me about the growth over the last.
When I started with the Napleton Group, they were doing somewhere around 150 units that we can see through the internet activities. That wasn't even sure, they were just estimate. In last 2 years, we come to, right now we had record month last month again, and we did almost 700 units through the or internet, directly internet related. Even though some of the cars still not accounted for because some of the internet managers do not have full access to the information when the customer walks in the door from internet. He sees the car on the internet, walks in the dealership, and he buys the car. So rather than getting an argument, this is internet, not internet, even though we have process, we just want to make sure that everything is seamless and do not have issues. Still, we did 700 units, and quite contrary to industry thoughts, we are doing very well profit-wise. I mean, somewhere around over $2,000 average car that we gross profit make on those cars from internet customers.
Can I stop you for a second, Rafi? Can you put the the microphone so it's above your lapel so it doesn't rub together?
Oh, just on the outside there?
Yeah, it could be on the outside, just above the jacket, so it's.
We're here.
No, on your tie's fine. Just above where your jacket's rubbing against your tie. There you go. Just the rubbing together makes it
will that
so
work?
hear the sound, so that should be okay.
Did we pick up what we just went through, or do we need
Should
to
be
go through
fine.
that again?
Should be
Fine.
Okay. When did you get into internet sales, or how did you get into internet sales?
I actually started selling cars in late 70s, early 80s. I loved cars all my life. I enjoyed cars. And in late 80s and early 90s, this internet phenomenon was catching up. My older brother was in the computer business. And I used to go over the weekends and help him out, sell things for him, to help him out on Sundays and other days in the evening, just to see, it's an older brother, so I wanted to help him out. And I really got to like the technology. So early on, I caught on to it, and I thought it is going to be big one day. So I started in e-commerce or internet sales when they were faxing the leads to the dealerships. So I've been doing this from the day one, literally, you can say.
Tell me how you've seen it evolve. The internet, I guess, an internet lead over the fax is kind of a unique.
It was like
proposition.
that. Well, if I recall that, there was a really huge Auto Vital ad during Super Bowl, and right before that, we were getting leads through fax machines because there was no internet access at the dealership, but we wanted to play the internet. So I was at the Honda dealership, and we started getting leads, and we sold cars over then. We did sold cars then, but naturally there was no communication. Just pick up the phone and call the customer, and make the appointment. Customer comes in, buys the car. So it was a unique thing, yes. Now how it evolved? It is evolving. It's not evolved yet, because customers are still. I noticed in last 24 months, we have achieved 18 record months. Because it is evolving so rapidly now that it was never been before. Before we were used to see record breaking every 6 months or 7 months. Now, naturally, every single month, literally, either we have gross month or the unit month, the best ever. And it's evolving. People are going more and more towards the internet. I think majority of customers, even though you say 60, 70, 80, I think 90% customers going to the internet to look for the car, what they want to buy. And naturally, if they're looking to buy a car, they will be on the internet looking for a car.
So what you're saying is that even though people aren't putting leads in, you might only get, of your customers, say 50% of them send a lead in, 90% of them or more are at least visiting online. Whether or not they submit their information is a different story.
Definitely, definitely. You're looking at the majority of the customers that going online, looking at the dealership website, looking at the manufacturer website, looking at the cars they have in inventory, and they're going to buy the car. They're coming to the dealership and looking for that particular car or a car that they like.
You've probably seen a lot of dealers that are a little bit adverse to the internet, maybe unsure of it, maybe don't like it, outright hate it. Why is that? Why are so many dealers? Why haven't we bought in as an industry?
It is not dealers' fault. It is the whole industry and the management. When I say management, I'm talking about general managers, general sales managers, those who are old school. They are coaching their principals, dealer principals, and owners that, hey, it doesn't work. And naturally, they have to trust somebody in the dealership, and they're trusting their people who are giving them advice. And if those people are not believing in it, they are translating those same information to these owners, and they don't believe it either. Otherwise, if you see the fact, and the number speaks for itself. The people who are jumping on the internet bandwagon right now, they are reaping the big rewards right now. I have some dealers that I know personally that they were selling 20 cars a month on the internet 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They're still selling 15, 20 cars a month because they never really paid full attention, or they did not get serious about the business. Unless you get serious, you won't get the reward. They don't have a way to measure it. If you can measure it, you cannot manage it. That's the bottom line.
What, just real quick, we probably should have done this at the beginning, but how do you define an internet deal? What's your definition of it? So when you say internet deal, we've seen, I think, two main definitions out there. One definition says an internet lead that comes into the store that was submitted via email from any source. That's an internet deal. The other definition that I've seen is any trackable media source. For example, if you put a banner ad with a phone number and you track that phone number through who's calling, that would be an internet deal, even though they never submitted a lead. They might have just called, set an appointment, come into the store. How do you define internet deal, just so when we're talking, we know?
The easiest way to define is if you are investing money in the particular source on the internet, if that originates a lead from there, regardless is a walk-in customer, regardless it is a phone up or a lead, it is a lead coming from the internet that is an internet sale. If you sell the car, customer takes the delivery of the car, it is an internet sale.
So, okay, perfect. So you're sourcing it, you're sourcing it for ROI purposes. You want to know, hey, am I getting my return?
Right.
But you're sourcing the customers, they come to the lot, finding out, did they come from a microsite that you've got or from a lead? It doesn't matter. If they emailed info, if they came in from a web source, that's internet deal.
I had a very interesting incident regarding that. We were paying this portal. They are hosting our inventory, one of those flat fees provider like Cars.com, Auto Trader. And every month I was getting a bill from the store that I'm paying for it, $1,500 or $2,000, what have you. And I was showing sales through that. So I went to talk to the used car manager. I said, listen, we have all the used cars inventory published on Auto Trader or Cars.com. And if I don't see a result, I will have to assume it's not working and I will cancel it. So naturally, his bread and butter is based upon how many cars it's selling. So they understood because they cannot afford to lose that avenue. So they start tracking better. So naturally, when I have the ROI report says every single month that XYZ provider is not providing us any ROIs. So after, when you're taking 30 dealerships together, 2,000 apiece, it's $60,000 a month with no return. Naturally, it wouldn't take very long before the owner say, okay, pull the plug, we don't want this provider. Naturally, all of a sudden they realize, no, it is the fact the customer's coming from there. They start, paying attention.
I'm actually dealing with that same struggle now, as I wanted to cancel Auto Trader because I don't see any results, because there's a division between the internet department and the sales floor. But it turns out that the salespeople just aren't sourcing. The floor salespeople aren't sourcing the app, so I have no idea how to account for my ROI.
They will never source. Salespeople are, by nature, they are lazy. It's not they don't want to do it. It's not they will never skate you. That's never happens. In real life, they are nice. They will come back and give you this customer, but they do not source. If they say, well, it's Jared here. Jared who? Can I help you? How can I help you? All of a sudden, they take the customer, sell the car. And it's not an internet because it was a walk-in. In my dealerships, we have a process in place. They cannot put walk-in customer because walk-in, how he walk-in? There's got to be a reason he walk-in from something. He walk-in because of billboard, he walk-in because of the internet, he walk-in because what? So naturally, there is a subcategory of walk-in. It's an internet and non-internet. They have to describe that. And then what we do is, in some stores when we have big problems, we have a source sheet that customer has to fill out. And they fill out, and the finance manager or business manager keeps it in a folder, and he stamps the deal jacket, internet sale or non-internet sale.
If an internet customer comes in and they do this appropriate sourcing through your process, does that floor salesperson have to turn it to the internet department? Or do they just sell the car and then it just becomes an internet deal?
Yeah, see, that is very interesting that a lot of internet managers, they are actually hurting themselves by establishing that is my sale, I want the commission. And if anybody who is afraid of losing commission, they will naturally not give you the credit. So in my dealership, let me shut it off.
I was like, I thought it was coming from over here. I looked at Jared, I was like.
In our dealerships, we have established something. It does not matter who sells the car, they get the whole commission. Because that is their efforts, they sold the car. Internet manager will get the bonus for the volume bonus that he is set up to get. So if he sells 20 cars, and if his volume is, if the internet department sells 20 cars, he gets $50 bonus, $100 bonus. If he sells 30 cars, he gets $500 bonus. So he gets to the mark, he gets his money. So now the salespeople are comfortable that they're not losing money or they're losing the deal. So what they do, they source them right and they provide the correct report. Now, why you need the report? To make sure you're investing money in the right places. If you don't know what's working for you, you will not be putting the money in the right places.
I think that's so
That
smart.
makes perfect sense.
So much sense,
So
because
you-
that's what I'm struggling with. Is exactly that. Is I'm trying to figure out. Well, I don't want these guys to get frustrated because all the ups are internet customers, because 70% of them are from the internet.
Yeah.
So you just basically structured your pay plan. So the pay plans you have non-competing pay plans
Exactly.
to make sure that everyone's source is right. Because obviously what's most important isn't, I mean, the pay plan comes into but what's most important is the ROI. Are we making appropriate business decisions? And what most stores are doing is they've got conflicting pay plans, which prohibits you from getting the right information to make the appropriate decision. So you're making decisions based off bad data because you got
Correct.
a pay plan problem at the bottom.
Exactly.
So inherently, it's an internet marketing manager, not necessarily an internet sales manager.
Right. Now, an interesting fact over here also is that when you are making that kind of plan, there are two different sorts of plan over here. Like if you have a dealership where you have everybody is participating, I call it an internet store. We have those stores in Florida that everybody participate regardless if they want it or not. We do not ask the salesman, would you do this? We're not asking them, we're telling them this is part of the job. They will get equal amount of internet leads and we will see how they perform. They have no choice but to sell X amount of cars or X amount of percentage of internet leads. By doing that, it's like in old days, we had every salesman has a quota. Well, you know what, you're gonna take 50 ups, hopefully, then we mark it in the newspaper, and you will sell 5 cars or 8 cars a month. Now, it's same thing over here, the internet. We will give you a round robin, so we'll all get the same leads, similar quality leads across the board, and at the end of the day, whoever is hitting the mark, they get the bonus. Whoever doesn't hit the mark, not only they will not get the bonus, they will get the lower commission on the other deals because this is a bogey that you have to hit. So it's helping a lot. We are selling about 122 cars a month in one store alone.
Off the internet.
Of the internet.
What's the bogey? 10%?
Oh no.
10% closing ratio?
Oh, closing ratio in the store is, in some months we have seen as much as 24%, 25%.
Well, what is the bogey? I mean, do you hit them at, you have to close this percentage, or do you have to have what's the bogey?
The bogey is 10% because 10% is understood industry-wide as an average, even though it's not really an average, but this is understood as an average. So we want to make sure that people are not, we want to give people something they can achieve so they don't feel like failure every month.
Right. What is there, well, I guess it's different per store, what percentage of the internet sales that you want? We'll talk a lot about that because that's interesting. We'll get into the structure a lot more in a minute. Also, tell me real quick about just the overall profitability. Obviously, you're pretty profitable online.
We are doing very well. Or for the last 2 years, if I recall, it's only 1 month that we were less than 2,000 per car. So we are the entire year, if I take the whole year, average gross profit is over $2,000, $2,045 to be exact.
Wow.
So how is it in the sales process that enables you to get a customer in and close them and maintain profits?
Contrary to the fact, or contrary to the belief, honesty is the best policy. Believe it or not, if the customer asks for something specific, we give it to him. If the customer says he needs a price, if you don't give it to him, he will go someplace else. Trust me, he will not buy a car from you.
Total transparency.
It is total. You know, you don't give the price to everybody, but if somebody asks for it, you give it to them, because they already have the price on the internet. They're probably just confirming if you are playing fair or not. And if you give them, and they see what you're giving them is fair, they'll buy the car from you. I have seen people who paid me more money, and they brought me a letter, email from somebody else, and you know what, I don't want to go here. This guy was telling me this and this and this. When I talked to him, he was not really straightforward with me. I'm here, and I know I paid more money, but I'm happy. It happened to me, not one time, several times.
Okay, so don't give a price unless somebody asks it. Just your objective is to make an appointment to come into the store.
That is basic, fact is, unless you have a customer in front of you, you're not selling anything. You don't sell cars on virtual world. You have to bring the customer into the showroom floor. Unless it's an eBay auction or some auction that you're selling car totally online. Here you are convincing the customer you have the inventory, you show them you're the best in the place, you give them quick response, you call them, make an appointment, bring them into the dealership and sell the car. And when you come to the dealership, you go back to the basics: meet, greet, qualify, find what they need and satisfy their needs.
Let's go through these seven process points and get your opinion. Basically, do you think it's important, while they're particular